Okay, this is Rebecca Good, and this is for my assignment number 4, an interview with an instructional specialist. I'm meeting today with Tina Sanders. She is an instructional specialist for Jefferson County. She is assigned to Oak Grove Elementary School. And Tina, if you're ready, we're going to begin our interview.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So my first question for you is, how do you assess and revise a systematically integrated curriculum? And I'm talking about that both horizontally and vertically. And how do we make sure that all students are engaged in a rigorous and relevant academic challenge?
So everything goes back to data. Data. We look at our data based on multiple sources. We look at Global Scholar. We look at the teachers' observations. We look at student work. And through that, we look at and try to plan our curriculum and our activities based on the needs of the students.
Okay. And then that's looking at it horizontally and vertically?
Yes, and one of the things that we do here at Oak Grove is we're able to meet with the high school teachers, the 6th grade, 7th grade.
Awesome.
We actually met with all the way to the 12th grade for math and reading, so that we could plan the curriculum and know what's going on further up down the road, and let the teachers there know what's happening in the elementary schools. One thing that they wanted to focus on is like vocabulary. What vocabulary are we using in elementary school, and is it appropriate to get them where they need to be in the upper grades?
Okay, that makes sense. Can you tell me how you assure that our instructional objectives here at the school and our curricular goals are aligned?
One thing that we do is, as the instructional specialist, I'm able to go in the classrooms, observe teacher lessons. I look at the lesson plans, and I also am able to do coaching cycles with the teachers, so that I'm able to go in, base my reflections and our discussion on the student work, not on the teacher. So we're able to come back together and we're able to meet and see what's happening through the student work, not necessarily focusing on the teacher and their what they're doing. And it kind of allows me to go in and see what's going on, making sure that we're aligned with the standards, making sure that we're teaching what we need to teach.
And I'm sure focusing on the students makes it a lot more comfortable for this.
Yes. If you look at what the students are doing based on what the teacher's doing, they feel much more comfortable.
More receptive. Okay, so how do you lead and motivate our faculty to adhere to our prescribed state standards?
One thing, motivation is a big deal at Oak Grove Elementary. We're trying to motivate not only for the curriculum and our standards, but we're also motivating for our morale.
Yeah.
So one thing that we're able to do is, one of our, as a district, we're talking about trust the standards.
Yes. Okay.
If you trust the standards, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So as long as the teachers, when I go into the classroom and see what's going on, if they're trusting the standards, if they're teaching the standards, one thing that we do is, put a little sticky note. Let them know, hey, you hit this standard, you hit it deep, and let them know, hey, we see what's happening. We see that you're hitting the standards and you're teaching what you're supposed to teach.
Okay. Tell me how you go about working with all stakeholders to identify instructional and curricular needs, and that they align with what the district's shared vision and available resources are.
One thing that, in my position, I'm able to do is I'm able not only to meet with the teachers, but we also have our CIP team, or our SILT team that meets. We have parents that come in and have discussions about what we're doing with our continuous improvement plan. I'm able to meet with the feeder patterns, talk to the other schools in our pattern, and also I'm able to work with the coaches and the instructional leaders in the county, so that we're all on the same page on what the district wants as in with the curriculum.
Good. Okay. How do you monitor and assess the instructional program, the activities, the materials, so forth?
Everything goes back to the data. We look at the student data. and to see how the students are progressing. We also, through the coaching cycle, through the discussions with the teachers, they have a lot of insight on whether it's working or not with our curriculum. So what works this year might not work next year, but we're able to have those discussions.
So you make changes as needed?
And make changes as needed, yes.
Okay, so just a couple more questions for you. How do you use diagnostic tools? And I know you're going to go back to Global Scholars, but maybe go in a little more in depth how you use those tools to assess, identify, and also apply instructional improvements.
What we're trying to do this year is we're trying to focus on the students with Global Scholar. So we're looking at their individual scores and whether they are, what category they fall in, whether they need improvement, whether they're high average, low average, medium average.
Okay.
Looking so that we can actually push those students that need to be pushed. So the teachers are looking at that data in grade level meetings, during PST meetings. We're making charts. We're able to focus in, kind of drill down to the actual standard that each student needs to focus on.
Okay.
So that's our goal for this year. Of course, it takes time for the teachers to get and understand what the data is saying. Sometimes you're given too much data.
True.
So we're trying to drill it down to where we're just looking at the data for each 9 weeks and maybe picking out 5 or 6 students that we can focus on that we know we can move.
Okay.
So,
okay. I'm going to ask you a couple of things that are probably going to be more opinion than fact.
okay.
I'd really like to know what some of the factors are that interfere with achieving the goals and the objectives as an instructional specialist.
And I hate to say this, but some lack of teacher knowledge of the standards.
Okay.
I know that with math, our standards change. I would say for some teachers it is dramatically on how you present the material and what is the outcome of your objective.
Mm-hmm.
So the teachers still need a lot of training on what do those standards mean.
Yes.
And what does the final product or what does the procedures look like?
And I did fail to mention, and I guess I should for my instructor's benefits, that you are a former AMSTI person also. So you have been all over.
Right.
And so your understanding of how teachers understand or don't understand the math standards is, would you say, is across the state or across the county?
Yes,
okay.
I would.
Okay.
But that's probably the hardest thing is the teachers to their knowledge. We need to get more time for the teachers to have time to dig
time
deeper
is a big factor too.
into those standards.
Okay. So lack of knowledge and lack of time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, and then we had to read a book, and it talked about, and you and I kind of discussed this a little bit beforehand, how you would characterize the curriculum as implemented as being knowledge-centered, learner-centered, or society-centered. So when you look at Oak Grove Elementary School and the curriculum as it's implemented, how do you see that? Which of those choices do you see?
I think on any given day, you could
depending on what classroom,
classroom and what day it is. It could be all three.
Okay.
Some teachers are more heavily focused on the knowledge, and that goes back to our old standards, in my opinion.
Okay.
Our curriculum should be, and we try to focus more on the learner-centered.
Yes.
And having teachers give up that reign and letting the students take a lead of their own learning.
And it's scary.
It's a scary thing to happen. And then we also, depending on what's going on in the world, you never know what's going to be taught. So I think it's just a mixture depending on the day of the week, the teacher's room that you walk into, and the time of day.
So overall, you would say it most closely mirrors learner-centered.
Yes.
Okay. But on any day, it could have a mix.
Yes.
We've talked about that before. Okay. I think that is, oh, I do know, I need to ask this. Why did you choose learner-centered? What, can you give me some examples of?
I think that at Oak Grove we are trying to give the students more ownership.
Okay.
Of what's
Good.
they're learning, and so we there's a lot of small group, there's a lot of student discourse going on, there's a lot of
I see a lot of collaborative
right
activities.
Yeah, there's not, I mean, we try not to have the sitting at the desk. There's a lot of on the floor in a small group. More activities where discussions are happening than worksheets where it's just singular.
And two, I think I can point out from what I heard you said with all the looking at the data and drilling down with the standards and where the kid's weak, and you know, I think as a school it sounds like you look for what the learner needs, and it sounds like you try to communicate that back to the teachers based on again data.
Right.
Okay, great. All right, well, I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.